Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks. Have we covered Greenest Fields yet? I'm not sure if we have, but in case we haven't, we are going to be taking a look at Greenest Fields today, a map with no metal extractors. What? Yeah, you might be thinking that's impossible. How could you have a map with no metal extractors? Well, the entire economy hinges upon these fancy little bad boys called the energy converter. Flipping that energy, fusing it into something usable, like, say, for instance, some metals to make some robots. It's an interesting map. It's always a goofy one. It's a lot of fun. I never take this map seriously, but I love playing on it because that always means that there's some funny stuff going on. Our team leaders today, in the southern side, representing the blue team, we have Zero Renegade, going to be our blue team leader in the Armada commander, the Armada faction here. Going for that bot lab off of one energy converter. A whopping 3 metal economy when the energy is in surplus, that is. Representing our red team, significantly high up in true skill, and representing with the silver chevrons, we do have TZN Claret. Claret, well known around the community, and definitely going to be bringing some interesting stuff out for us today. Looks like Claret and Polygon both went for a bot lab. They co-opted it so that they could get it out a little faster and at a slightly less detriment to their own economy. So that's quite nice to see. They did get a resbot out on the field. It's important to get a resbot out because there is a little bit of metal lying around in the rocks and such around here, so it's important that you eat those up as quickly as possible. But also, it's important to eat up all these trees as well, because remember, energy is metal on this map, so getting those is quite nice. Ooh, that was a great little pick there. I wasn't paying attention, but a Polygon did manage to snipe the energy converter here of Zero Renegade, also taking out a couple of windmills, I think, 1 or 2 of them. That's a very nice pick. Remember, those are the economy, so if you take those out, that's everything. That's all they have. Tons of ticks here. It's irrelevant who got the most ticks out first, who got them out and about on the field, but I will award Polygon for the first kill of the game here. Or the first significant kill anyways, taking down that energy converter. That was quite nice. Slowing down the other team's best player is definitely a good feeling, right? You're always feeling pretty good when you take out their blue or their red. And in this game specifically, taking out an energy converter might as well be killing their entire economy. Radar's a great point by Claret. Radars are very important on this map. It's very big and wide and open, but it does mean that you have plenty of room for ticks, but as long as you have the radar facilities in place, you're going to be a-okay. Zero managed to sneak some ticks by and will catch one of these little feaster bots, the Lazarus here, eating up some plants and whatnot here, and it's going to turn into a little bit of a tick battle. Forces are joined now as Charlie, the Moist Critical himself, just watched a video of his actually, jumps in to help the ticks from Zero Renegade. They're kind of just poking and prodding, right? This is the feeling around in the dark that I've talked about in some of my other videos. This is the players looking around, trying to figure out where everyone else is. And right now, they've just now made contact. Charlie's ticks are moving in for the kill here, and they're going to try and take down some of these wind turbines. We're all focusing on trying to get these energy converters. If you get the energy converters, you've effectively disabled the economy. But it looks like the hero ticks from Claret will be able to save the day. Very nicely done. Expect a lot of tick gameplay. We do have grunts out as well, of course. Those are the Cortex alternative. Not really a counterpart, but more so an alternative. Little kill here. Did take out a whole bunch of energy converters for Smelly Pirate Man, who you can see now has no way to drain that metal and is down, or drain that energy rather, and is now down to just +2. It really is that important. Grunt versus grunt warfare here. More brothers will be joining the blue grunts though, and those are in the position for Nimso. Not sure how to pronounce that, but either way, it's nice that we have these grunts out here and being aggressive. Ticks doing the same thing, and they do get in the backline sniping. Oh, sniping. There we go. Sniping a bunch of energy converters. Nicely done, splitting off that tick. That's some pro Zerg micro right there. That player is definitely a Zerg. Contra, yeah, definitely a Zerg in a former life. LOTs are not bad, but units are a whole lot better. You can move them, you can use them, you can abuse them. Yeah, those units, the units are going to do a whole lot better as a standing, walking, threatening wall And especially the grunts are very, very good against the ticks. They can trade very efficiently. There's a lot of grunts. We're jumping on the commander here, but you got to remember, when these grunts go down, they leave behind valuable metal corpses. And yeah, that's a cool 100 metal left on the ground. Not to mention all the ticks leaving little spots of metal everywhere. Not much, but it does help, every single piece. On a map like this, so low on metal, it's every bit of metal counts. And right now, the blue team is doing a much better job of being aggressive out on the map than the red. The red had that really nice run by on the blue player here. But it looks like Zero has decided to spread out the energy converters now so that doesn't chain react and happen again. What I like to do is build these in a little square like this, and then build a row of solar panels like this, 2 wide. That way, neither one will chain react the other. Just a helpful little tip for you there. You can see Claret, yep, doing the exact same thing. This is exactly it. You build them in these big 2 wide windmill patterns, and then basically they won't ever be able to chain react off of each other because it takes 3 wind turbines in order to chain. Very nicely done. Mandatory Comfy moving up here. Everybody's trying to get those wind turbines up and running. It is hard. The techs are a constant threat, and now we are stepping up into the higher, that quote-unquote higher tier units. Some thugs over here. Oh, we're eating them up, actually. Interesting. Maybe we built these in vain, and now we're going to refold their metal back into the storage and build something else. We can go for grunts instead. Couple of rocketeers here for Nimso. Yeah, this is probably good. We just need to make sure we keep these alive, right? You don't want these to go down, and you don't want to feed them to the enemy. Whether you give them to them as a wreck that they eat up, or as a wreck that they resurrect, either way, that's bad news, and you definitely don't want that. Laser turret here doing a good job of threatening these ticks away, and the pop-up lightning turret will dissuade the rest of them. Nicely done there. Renegade and Polygon locked in a laser battle. Looks like Renegade's gonna try and bait the commander out here. What you really want is to snag one of these commanders. Eating up a commander is a huge metal influx on this map. It's just miles of economy that you can spread. Very powerful, and that's probably what we're looking for here. Renegade is probably trying his very best to make sure that we can eat up some of these commanders whenever we take down. Laser turret's also a very good target here. They're pretty metal dense. You know, 51 metal. That's you know, that's almost a pawn, I believe. It's half a rocketeer more or less. Yeah, Rocketbot's getting really good value out is going to be really important. Making sure that we're constantly using these efficiently. Centurion, same thing. If we can repair these, keep these all nice and healthy, yeah, this will be quite nice. But you have to make sure you don't lose these, because if these go down, that's so much metal. Metal is king on this map. I mean, metal is king on every map, but it's specifically on this one, you have to... It's all about that damage efficiency number, right? Usually you don't care about that. Usually it's just, you know... I'll just throw more pawns at the problem until it breaks. But on this one, you can't really afford to do that. It's also rare that we get to see people this good playing on this map, by the way. I should note. We don't get to see very many top-tier players like Claret or Zero or Contra, Screwish, any of these guys playing on these funky maps. A lot of the times we see them playing straights, we see them playing DSDR, you know, all the quote-unquote standard maps. So I love whenever I get a chance to see them mix it up here. Gonna scare off these Rocketeers here. The missile trucks are quite threatening. They're one of those units that can get a huge amount of value over time, as long as you're constantly keeping them in the fight, but just far enough back that you can retreat them. They're also very good against these ticks, of course, because those heat-seeking missiles do one-shot the ticks, and it's very hard to miss with one of those. Commander is moving pretty far forward here. Yep, D-guns some of those Centurions. That's probably a worthwhile trade here. Screwish is going to have to retreat from those missile trucks, and Charlie is going to keep marching forward. This is a little over-ambitious, though. I'm a little worried about these commanders here. Screwish and Mandatory Comfy are both working together to try and push Charlie back. But at the moment, there's not really any units out for Screwish. It looks like he spent most of his economy on those Centurions, and the fact that 2 of them got D-gunned down, it's really starting to hurt him. Bombers? What on earth? Didn't even see these on the production, but we do have a couple of these bombers. These, gosh, what are they called? I'm blanking on the name of those bombers. Anyway, the Cortex T1 bombers. And they do a good amount of work. They take out a couple of energy converters here, and that's really what we're aiming for. That's metal production, right? Those are equivalent to mexes, except when they're built in chains like this, you can take out a whole lot more of them. For some reason, Claret's base was undefended here, and a bunch of Rocketeers have marched on in. They are going to get deep into the back line as they start running rampant. I don't see a laboratory. Where did the lab go? Looks like we must have put it into an air lab over here. I'm not sure why exactly, but ooh, little medium tank run by as well. Did some nice damage here. Things are crumbling quickly for the red team. Now the options are you go for a tech transition or you go for economy, right? Those are kind of the two grabs you can go for. In the back line here, we have Megatron producing a lot of missile trucks at the moment. We're using our metal well. Those missile trucks, when they get up into numbers, they can be very, very dangerous. Claret's commander is looking a little low, 20% health left, and a couple more rockets will do him in. I do see a couple of Stormbringers on the production here for Claret. That must be why we didn't have units out on the front. We were too focused on the airplay. Claret does not have... Oh yeah, no, okay, we do have energy converters over here. Sorry, I thought we had no energy converters for a second. I was gonna say, how are we gonna fund all of these bombers without any metal? Looks like we do have fighters out here. Contra has been hard at work building up a bit of an air force. These bombers are going to have to fly over a bunch of missile trucks too, so unfortunately these are just kind of, they were born in the wrong place at the wrong time, so these are going to have to go all the way around the map if they want to get any kind of value out. But if they fly over here, they fly into fighters. If they fly over here, they fly over missile trucks. So this is the only option is right down the middle here. Not a great bombing run because, of course, you're going to get sandwiched by both forces, right? So I'm eager to see if we manage to get any value out from that, but also I am skeptical. Cautiously optimistic is what we call that. Bunch of units here handed over to Claret so that, you know, they have something to micro. Switching away from the air lab and into a vehicle lab so that there's some missile trucks of our own. Yeah, the bombers are spotted and the fighters jump on them immediately. They still make it pretty far, though. Ooh, kind of a bum bombing run. That could have been a whole lot worse right here. Those are close enough to chain react, as well as a lot of these. Yeah, we just kind of unfortunately targeted the wrong area, and they did drop their bombs, but just not in the right spots. You can see the bombing runs here were just sub-ideal. That hurts. That was a lot of metal and a lot of energy right down the drain here for Claret, and it's going to be a bummer. Going to be a bummer trying to recoup that investment. Is Claret a dude or a girl? Claret sounds like a girl's name, but also it also doesn't sound like a standard English name, so I'm just not sure. I'll have to meet with them and ask. Trying to figure out what pronouns I should use. Anyways, regardless of what pronouns they prefer, Claret is under a whole lot of fire right now. These missile trucks are firing away. Claret down to 28% from those light missiles coming out of those whistlers. And yeah, they hurt. We've actually got a combined arms effort here from purple and light blue, as both of them are going to be trying their very, very best in order to whittle down the defenses here. Claret holding on by the skin of their teeth. Stouts are coming out. Those are a nice little HP buffer on all this. The Whistler trucks in the back are going to keep off any tech harassment, and so for now, Claret will be stabilized. Screwish, however, is dealing with a push pretty far forward by Charlie, who is moving the commander further and further north here. If it gets too close, it can take out that bot lab and it can start damaging the economy. We really need to hold that commander back, but also Charlie needs to make sure not to throw that commander away because putting a commander down right in front of your enemy's base is a surefire way to feed them a whopping 1,250 metal. Nice deguns here. We're taking out all the key units, though. We're blasting down any that aren't necessarily super strong, like the grunts, the pawns, all that sort of thing. And then we're making sure to eat up all those corpses. So very nicely done. I do like to see that. Yeah, Charlie in a bit of a pickle here. Cut off from his teammates. This is the pink player right here. This is the, well, this is the yellow player, obviously. So if things take one wrong turn, Charlie could definitely find himself cut off from further reinforcements. could be a bad day. Advanced solar panels out now, and those are nice. Those are that constant energy production. When that wind dies down, you'll be real happy to have them. Tons of windmills back here, though. You can see this is the juicy heart of the economy for the blue team. And it looks like Metis has decided that this is the time to switch up to that T2 factory. We almost have enough metal to pay for it. We're going to be a little bit shy here. I wonder if anyone else has T2. Oh yeah, looks like Charlie did actually tech up to a T2. I guess that explains why Charlie was being so aggressive there, was to buy them some time in order to get that T2 factory up and running, while also reclaiming a little metal on the front lines. I see the play, Charlie. Very nicely done. Yeah, getting that T2 lab up is going to allow you to get these sprinters out. They're miles more efficient than the pawns are. They're faster, they do more damage, they're just better all around. And I love to see that. I think that's a great play. The next thing you can do is hand out T2 to all your teammates here. We do have a T2 constructor, so we can start building those T2 energy converters. They're a bit more efficient than the T1s, so always worth going for those. Metis is almost done with his T2 lab. Meanwhile, Contra in the back line here is just content to keep producing fighters. Don't see why he wouldn't be. The fighters are going to be necessary here where bombing runs can be lethal. I mean, imagine 3 bombers make it through here. Just one bombing run across here, one bombing run across here, and one bombing run across here, and you've lost half of the economy of the entire backline. Yeah, it could be really, really bad, so it's good that we have a super strong firewall here. Missile trucks have started to build in vast number. We're getting to those numbers that can start to turn the tides of battles here. This is a difficult engagement to judge, right? How many you basically just need more missile trucks than the enemy, and it's hard to tell whether you have that advantage or not. Claret somehow has eked out a T2 economy, or T2 lab rather. Looks like Polygon was helping pay for it in large majority, as now we're getting a couple of these hounds out on the front line. And once these hounds are out, they can start tearing down that T1 with such brutal efficiency that you really have no choice but to retreat and tech up yourself. Otherwise things are not going to look too good. We have a bunch of landmines here, a bunch of these light mines. Yeah, just double checking that they were the light mines. Yeah, those are good. They're a great deterrent, right? It only takes 1 or 2 landmines for you to realize you're walking into a very dense landmine field. And trust me, nobody wants to walk into a landmine field. I mean, unless you're just that guy. Let me know down below if you're that guy who enjoys walking into landmine fields. But yeah, I'm definitely not. I've been deterred once or twice by a landmine field, and I'm sure it'll happen once more. Certainly won't be the last time. Missile trucks are still very valuable. They just outrange everything, so no matter what where you're using them, if it's still T1, you're going to be able to get value out. Even against the T2, they're not terrible. The range on a Hound is 650 versus the range on a missile truck is 600. So the Hounds can technically outrange them, but only by 50, which is not huge. The landmine field will be discovered here. There were some medium mines that were thrown up, potentially to deal with those Hounds should they decide to push forward here. But they'd have to go through a lot of light landmines, and I don't think they would. Yeah, I don't think they would. I don't really think they would make it through those. T2 Hounds are pretty tough. They're a great unit, but they need their support. Support bots as well. They need those radar jammers, those radar bots, compasses, smugglers, as well as other support units, right? Like they could use a couple welders in front as sort of a health buffer. They could use something like the sprinters to get that surround damage because they can run past everything. Little combinations that you can add in that just end up augmenting your unit composition and making it that much more powerful. Now, one thing I'm surprised about is that we didn't see any commanders being sacrificed here. Sometimes that's, I mean, especially in this map, that's a great way to get a huge metal boost early on in the game. It does compromise your front lines a little bit, but we're well past the front line era. Yeah, everybody's got units, everybody's looking good. This side is actually really weak. I would love to see, whoops, that's a bit odd. Anyway, I would love to see a little more aggression from _Cow moving in on this side. There's just a blatant unprotected zone over here. I mean, we have units, right, but only T1 light laser cannons rather, and if we just had a couple of rocket bots, we would be able to do something interesting. Looks like we are building fiends though, and by we I mean _Cow. Yeah, getting those fiends out using a couple of twitchers. We also have a T2 Cortex lab, and that's quite nice. I would love to see those twitchers handed out to everyone. Those fiends can be devilishly efficient, and especially the fact that they don't leave behind a corpse when they die. It means that they're really good on this map particularly, because they can't be resurrected. You just have to reclaim them. Obviously, if you can reclaim them, if you can reclaim your own units, that's ideal. But you know, the realities of warfare and whatnot. Claret is pushing back now. We've fully established ourselves into this, and we are basically ready to start gaining some ground here. I was just reading the chat. They're talking about the advanced fusion reactor being worse than wind, or the fusion reactor being worse than wind. Just double check that. Yeah, fusion is worse than wind. Claims avocado. Someone can do the math here, but I think at 20 energy and 37 metal, yeah, that's definitely, they're definitely right. At least on the high end, those are going to be a lot better. I do love to see gunslingers. They're not often mixed into unit compositions, but they really should be. They're very, very good against those T1 medium tanks, especially. Charlie's commander does go down here to the combined efforts of T1 and T2 units from 2 different players. Yeah, those gunships the gunslingers rather, are very, very nice. Whoa, somebody just went down over here too. Looks like that was Zero Renegade's commander. He's planning to eat up that corpse. That makes sense. That is, of course, one way to get yourself back into the game. To get your head in the game, as they say. Claret's commander is actually pretty far forward here. This is a lot of missile trucks. They do 2% damage to a commander per shot. And we have currently 13 of these. So yeah, it wouldn't take more than 5 volleys of fire on that commander in order to bring it down, as they say. I'm really stunned that we went all the way up to an advanced fusion reactor right off the bat, though. That's pretty crazy. That is a lot of metal to dump into an energy producer, and we need to make sure that it stays alive. Maybe some static defense, maybe, you know, a whole bunch of stuff would be nice. This is really good for Screwish here, eating up these corpses. That was something I was just about to remark on, is how little resbots we actually see on the field right now. But yeah, this is great. Eating up all these bodies is going to feed back a ton of metal into the team's economy. You can see Screwish can't even really produce anything at the moment. Like, we have unit production, but there's actually no build power on this factory. So yeah, we're just pumping out units the old-fashioned way, the hard way, if you will. A couple of sprinters managed to run by here. That's a pain. Ooh, are they gonna get they don't manage to get the battery. Unfortunate. Those do have quite a lot of health. They're very explosive. Sprinter trying to cause some mayhem in the back line, and it does for a while, but it will eventually be mopped up by _cow. Hopefully that highlights for _cow that this area is open and available, although it might also make them a bit more wary to push in there. I'm not sure which direction they're going to take it, but hopefully it's the former. So the power of the gunslinger is that it has a little bit of impulse on its attack. I mean, the other superpower is that they can heal themselves, but that's, I mean, everybody knows about that. Now, the real power is that you can see every time they land one of their shots, it like freezes the enemy in place for a second. It stops these units from pushing into them super aggressively, and it allows them to continue the retreat while also firing backwards. That, mixed with the fact that they level up a whole lot quicker than other units, which increases their overall range, yeah, they can get really, really powerful really quickly. They're very good against these medium tanks. This is a great place for them. You can see just a couple volleys of fire, and they can melt those medium tanks away really nicely. Getting these guys in and out of combat is essential to making the most value out of them. But once they level up a little bit, they start to become a real menace. Yeah, you can you can see bouncing some of these units up into the air. Yeah, very, very dangerous, very powerful units. And if you micro them well, you can even keep them alive from the brink of death by just pulling them back at the last minute. You can see these guys ranked up here. Love gunslingers. They're such a unique unit. We hardly ever get to see them used, but they're so much fun. They're a very efficient unit, right? So if you're down on metal, you're down on energy, you're basically down on economy. They're a great way to claw yourself back because you can get a tremendous amount of value out of them. And of course, you can kill a bunch of units with them and then eat up that metal as well. And that's another way to pull yourself back from the brink of death. Bunch of hounds here switching into Gauss mode as they try to take down this gunslinger. They will get it. That's quite nice. If you're going to engage a gunslinger, you better be damn sure that you can kill it, because otherwise you're just going to be frustrated when a minute later it walks back out on the field completely full on health. Yep, advanced fusion reactor is up and running, and that's pumping out a solid 3,000 energy per second for the red player. Going to be feeding a lot of their... oh, that was nice. Feeding a lot of those energy converters the power that they need in order to make a proper economy. Little stealth tank run by here did get shut down by some lightning tanks before it was able to do too much damage. Another stealth tank over here. We do have the reconnaissance thing. The gosh, what is it called? Here, let me look for the little dot. Here it is. The tracer. Intrusion countermeasure system. It's a seismic tracker. So it tracks footsteps, which is interesting, certainly. Laser beams. Ah, we've got a couple of starlights out in the field. We are properly into that T2 here. You can see that the Contra down here, our T1 hero, has stepped up to that T2 stage and is now working on some of that T2 economy. We have a bunch of energy converters, we have a bunch of solar panels, a bunch of wind turbines. Are we going to eat this all up and convert it? Yeah, it looks like we will. Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm yawning. I just got up and I'm excited to record this. Got up, made myself some breakfast. I said, you know what? Before I go on about my day, I feel like recording a game of bar. I'm gonna play a couple games. I'm gonna record a couple games. Just got that spirit to fight on the front. You know what I mean? Sometimes you wake up with it. Sometimes you roll out of bed, and you can hardly stand to go look at a game of bar for an hour. Not me though. Luckily, I was born without it. Just built different. Luckily for me. Mauser are very dangerous here against these hounds. We all know it. We've all seen them. We've all seen just how powerful they can be, and we love to watch them. Look at these bad boys laying out their firepower. Firepower, come on, that was your cue. There we go. Oh man, the rush of endorphins I get every time I see a row of Mausers firing off into the distance is just so beautiful. And they're so powerful. I mean, so much damage just crammed into one attack. Like, it really, they are proportionally one of the strongest units, and I think, I'm not sure if that lines up mathematically, but in my mind they're like one of the strongest, if not the strongest, artillery unit in the game. So devastating. So devastating. Yeah, this is looking pretty rough here for Claret, who now has the unit production to make all this, but the units are clumped up. Oh, and so many of these Mauser go down to a single volley of fire. When you're wasting units like that, your economy is going to plummet pretty quickly as you dump more and more resources into units that are just dying before you can even replace them. Mauser in range of your advanced fusion reactor. Things are grim when that is the scenario, but yet it is what we find ourselves in here as these Mauser continue to roll forward. Bulls also very dangerous. They can tear down these units real quick. Tons and tons of firepower. You know, I was thinking about this the other day, but conventionally in RTS games, the idea is to have lots of units and low damage per unit. So, you know, every unit does a little bit of damage, and the idea is you make 1,000 units, right? In Bar, it just doesn't feel that way. Like, it feels like all the units do a ton of damage while also building 1,000 units, and for good reason. I think that's probably one of the main driving forces behind this game. One of the things that I like most about this game, just the fact that every unit you make feels like such a powerful unit. Just everything is a powerhouse. Anyway, things are collapsing here for the red team. The advanced fusion reactor going up here for Claret was a massive hit to the economy. Also, the energy converters are down, and don't forget, that's all of the metal income here as well. So at this point, Claret is well out of metal. Apparently took over a base over here at some point. I'm not sure whether that was recent or whether that was a while ago, but the gunslingers are marching backwards. Healthy as can be. Yeah, they heal themselves up, but nothing is going to save them from the wrath of Malekith, who is de-gunning them down into oblivion. Nice little catch there, otherwise those gunslingers could have continued to be a pain. Are we stable yet? The answer is kind of. We're stable in the sense that there isn't a huge army pushing into us at the moment, but unstable in this. Oh, that was a nice EMP right over here. Unstable in the sense that we haven't quite recovered economically. Yeah, it looks like the red team has realized the same thing. They realize with the death of that advanced fusion reactor, there's not really much they can do to stave off the oncoming horde, and our blue team will snatch victory. Very nicely played. Very fun game. I love watching these ones. Love watching the creative strategies. They're so topsy-turvy because of the way that the economies work when they're based entirely around energy. And wow, that's kind of interesting. You can see that the top economies were both the top economy was Megatron, and then the second top economy was for Claret here. The third was for the Shork, who is our Lavender player here. And Zero Renegade wasn't even top 3, like very, very far down, but just was so efficient with the units that they were able to continually apply pressure there. Very nicely done. Really fun to see. Hope you enjoyed watching this one. I will see you in the next one. Peace out and have a great rest of your day.